All right, and now to the less serious parts of the album, the less serious third of the album, at least lyrically, Patient Zero.
All right. So this is a fun one. This is probably one of my absolute favorites as far as guitar work goes. I got my fast song where I could do my weird me stuff, and I remember this song. I had an idea, and nothing was coming out, and I couldn't get it to translate. I couldn't get it to translate for the guys downstairs, and it was incredibly frustrating. This was also towards the end of the writing process. I think the song previous to this one was Barbed Wire Cloak of History. And like I had mentioned before, I was at wit's end with writing. I had dug very deep, and I felt like I was getting kind of at the end of my rope as far as putting out stuff where I was just like, this is not being received, or the guys aren't like, what, you just came out of left field with this or whatever. And once we kind of got back into working on this song, I remember I had said something to Sean. I was just like, hey man, one of the common denominators in this band is old school Slipknot. And
it was because, and sorry, you're bringing up the musically, we were not finding the cohesion.
Yeah.
Travis had his riff.
But
Travis had the riff, and Travis was like, well, I could change it. And I said, no, don't change the riff. The riff is sick. We needed to just find the rest of the pieces that fit in.
Yes.
And that's...
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to, and I came in and I was like, Sean, try this. And it wasn't like, oh, I want you to be Joey Jordison or whatever. It had no intention of that. But the build up, like how Slipknot does, or, you know, with a roll, or, oh, okay, dun dun, or something like that. And then shoot out the gate, get that double kick rolling, and everything such as that. And it just kind of...
It went immediately. The first thing, he said, hey, do Slipknot. Let Slipknot feel. Sean, oh, okay. Boom, he had the part.
Yeah,
it was there.
And then it was just off to the races.
Everything kind of fell into place to the most part for little tweaks. But
and then I was like, okay, we kind of got to a point where I was like, all right, now we need to figure out the rest of the song. And it ended up being kind of like a Gojira thing. And it wasn't even trying. It's just kind of what ended up coming out. It's just what made sense. And we kind of was like, okay, there's something there. And we built on it, and we built on it, and everything such as that. And when we went to the studio, we recorded it and everything such as that. And we got everything back. At the end of the song, well, actually, going back to the recording, I wanted to do a little bit more. I felt like, yeah, I know I can't recreate this live, but I can add some parts guitar-wise that I'm hearing back behind it to just kind of give it a little bit of pizzazz, put a little bit of salt and pepper on it. And we got it back, we're listening to it, and I was on my way to work, and it was pretty early in the morning, and I remember giving Matt a call because we were going to be sending back, talking with our Dustin, the guy that records us, and I was like...
Produces and mix masters.
Yeah. And I was like, at the end, add that weird, eerie guitar part behind that breakdown, and it came back, and I was just like, perfect. That's exactly what it needed. I know that we can't necessarily recreate that live, but for the record, I thought that was very important. And so that's kind of where that came from.
Yeah. So the writing process with throughout the whole thing, where getting the place, saying the Slipknot thing, getting that going, and then Travis goes to, like you said, the Gojira thing where he's talking where it's the hammer on stuff. So kind of like what is that song? Gift of Guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Is the first one that pops in my head. They do it decent, but where it has that and it just goes to that and it drops and stuff, and I felt it and how everything was building. I was like, dude, this could be the prequel to Infected. Like, how do we feel? Like, because I love zombie movies. I'm a sucker for cheesy movies, cheesy action movies and stuff. And I know zombie movies aren't necessarily cheesy, but it's one of those like genres that like ever since I was a little kid, I was like interested in the post-apocalypse and like take care of, you gotta survive, you gotta do all this stuff, and it was just, I felt it had that mood, and I was just, it's like everything that we've done was so like, it's serious and stuff, and I was like, I could do it as a prequel, and Travis was like, I mean, like, you do you or whatever.
Yeah.
So I said, I was like, okay, and like what we did with Infected before, I was like, all right, I had the idea in my head was like, go towards start as this as song, like straight up, it's just another song, but go into more of the horror movie aspect, with the feeling,
and I think
everything
Adam
else in the
helped accentuate that with the music a lot more too, because he's a big horror story guy.
Yeah. And I remember telling you, I was like, hey, you did that like weird like moving part, because he was like following a bass or a guitar at some point when we were trying to. I was like, dude, could you like do like something that goes in that part, that little, and he's like, oh, something like this, and it was like, yes, exactly that one thing, like boom, it worked so well. So like the the lyrically, this one, it's talking about scientists getting things up. They were supposed to be like helping people. That's the gist of the zombie stuff. The patient zero, and then like the evil scientists just like, oh, let's just see what happens with this, and it's about like in the perspective of this song is as patient zero, not talking about patient zero, but as patient zero, and the patient zero, how they change into the zombie, how they're feeling and stuff. So that's what the lyrics end up being. So then when the big change up happens in the song, and it goes into the heavy, that transition, and I didn't want to get like visceral with it and go like death metal, like ripping out the guts, and eat it, rip off the head and eat the brain through the neck or something stupid. Like, I say stupid, that that has a time and place in that style, but it wasn't our style. So I think it turned out really really good, and it translated well. And I'm always a stickler for enunciation. Like I told Travis, like I want people to, if they like the style of music, to be able to understand what I try to say. And there's sometimes you just make noises to make noises. And this song has, those parts where it just make zombie noises or whatever. And at the very end, I was just like, dude, I'm just like kind of roaring, and it's like I know what I said, and I did some goofy sounds for the layers and stuff. I was like, dude, is this too much? Like, you can't really understand it. And it was like, dude, you're like a monster at this point. Like, have the lyrics, but listen, it's just, you're a monster, you're fun. And I was like, okay, and we just left it, and it works out. I don't necessarily, like, it's one of those parts that, like, me being but you can't, like, the lyrics, because I'm big on lyrics, being a lyricist and everything. It's like, but you can't. But yeah, taking it as just like, hey, you turn to the monster.
Yeah.
It was fun to get through. This was difficult. This is probably one of the more difficult songs for me, because of the rhythms with this one. This was one that when we had the music, we had the bass like skeletal structure of the music. I came out the gates with, all right, guys, this is what I came up with, and it was like, what the hell are you doing? There was a little bit of a struggle getting this one to fall into place properly. We all could hear it, but we all were like was listening for each other's parts and stuff. And
cues and whatnot.
Once it all hit, when we started playing it, we were all more comfortable with it. Once it all came together, this was just. It was one of those like, dude, this is gonna sound so cool with what Dustin could do with getting the extra like what we want towards the end, and he freaking nailed it.
Thank you, sir. So much.
We're gonna go through that with Dustin a little bit later too, about that. But yeah, Patient Zero, the prequel to Infected.